All right, guys, welcome back to my channel. And today's video is actually going to be about my vacation. So I recently just came back from vacation. I took a cruise, had an amazing time, hence the tan. And I thought it'd be really fun not only to get a few things that I did capture on the actual cruise, but in addition to kind of tackling what I feel like has been a really big subject regarding one particular cruise line, which is Carnival. Okay. So this is actually my third cruise. My first one was Royal Caribbean, which was actually Jamrock, which is a specialty cruise. And then my second cruise was actually with MSC, which was for 7 days. Phenomenal as well. So, not for nothing, getting on a nice gravy train of I've become obsessed with cruises. I kind of wanted to see exactly what was the interesting aspect of Carnival after I've watched a few YouTube videos of nothing but pleasantries, particularly by this one couple that does post predominantly on Carnival. I will actually tag them in the video. But I kind of wanted to just experience it myself and then go from there. So I thought it'd be rather interesting to address what people have said negatively about Carnival and then kind of either give my feedback or better yet, address if that's still validly true or not. And my thought process is that not for nothing. When I went on the cruise with my boyfriend, we both literally at one point, it was during the all white party, went outside, looked around, and we were just like, what were people complaining about? Like, that's the reality of it. So, not for nothing, let's get into it. So the first thing that I wanted to address and kind of have a thought process to go off of is I went in on Google and I Googled what were the top complaints that people complained about Carnival Magic in particular. First was Carnival, and then I did Carnival Magic because that's actually the cruise line that I went on, and I kind of wanted to address that, right? So the first thing that a lot of people did complain about was issues with onboard behavior. Didn't see any issues regarding onboard behavior whatsoever. It was actually very streamlined. In addition to, they did have obviously one, at least because I know him by name. What was his name? Ah, but it was their drug and sniff dog. Didn't smell any marijuana. Didn't see any fights or anything of that nature. If anything, it was actually very cool, calm, and collected. And better yet, we actually had a blast with the patrons on board. From silly enough playing like beer pong to trivia nights to the comedy show, dinner, no issues whatsoever. To sing-alongs, karaoke. It was phenomenal. I and my boyfriend as well did not see any issues regarding the onboard behavior. And to give some insight, we did do the 6-day cruise of the Caribbean. We went to Turks and Caicos, Dominican Republic, the Bahamas. They had three, I think, at sea days, and then obviously Miami is considered a destination or a port rather, especially if you're flying in, so we flew in from New Jersey. But that I have to address, there were no whatsoever issues with onboard behaviors. I'd say the most rowdy thing I had seen was a lady had her special her what is a service animal with her, a little chihuahua. One of the ports, I believe, is actually Dominican Republic. They were not allowing her to depart or debark rather with the dog. Um, and that was like the most rowdy I've seen, meaning she was just like really frustrated, upset about it. She did have a valid point that, why would they allow her on the cruise with her special needs dog and not allow her to be able to go off in each port? I think that's good food for thought and feedback for Carnival that they need to have that at least expressed more thoroughly regarding special needs dogs or special service animals, things of that nature, when it comes to debarking on different ports. The reality is, obviously, it's not our country. We have to respect their needs, but I think that could have at least have been addressed more thoroughly. Great food for thought. But at least that was the number one thing that when I Googled that there was a negatory towards Carnival Magic in particular, as well as in Carnival, and we didn't see that whatsoever. Now, mind you, we also did, because I'm a morning person, so we went to the gym a couple times at like 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning. Actually, no, 8 because we ate breakfast for 9. And we would spend the entire day either on the excursion, come back on, got wasted, had a lot of great drinks. And then throughout the video, later on the video, I will address food and beverage, things of that nature. But my whole point is that we were on the cruise from early morning as well as until late night, even up until like 1 o'clock in the morning, because then we had a late dinner that was for 8 8:30, and then we would then go to either the comedy show or go watch a movie because they had this really dope movie along the Lidl, I believe it's called Lidl, and a huge screen out in under the stars, amazing. My point is that we would have been subjective to any kind of rowdy behavior because we were up along the ship all hours of the day. So that right there, debunked. We didn't see any issues in that regard. I had a great time with that. So the second thing that was mentioned as negatory towards Carnival Magic is that the service quality. Same thing. We had exceptionally great service from embarkation. We had them take our checked luggage. I still had my carry-on. He had his carry-on. We, walked throughout the entire cruise from the bars. They had our luggage. We actually were able to go to our room within like an hour and a half, I believe, of actually embarking. And we went straight, of course, obviously, first day, went straight to the bar, got a drink, then went to watch the game. Eagles fan, absolutely. So we went to Red Frog, I believe was the bar, watched the game, and then it was like the luggage had already been at the room, but we stayed to watch the game. When we went to the room, got our luggage in, I'll actually show you the video of that as well. Probably plug it in some point here. All right, so let's get right into it. So our room was 2317. It's on the second floor. And so we had actually gotten a balcony suite. As you can see, it does have a lot of really great closet space. That's one closet. And then there is a second closet. And then right to the left of that, you see it comes with hangers. Right to the left of that, it actually has like a folding space, which I thought was really great with a nice size mirror. Hi, there I am. And so there's a lot of great space for your wardrobe, as well as shelving space and a cute little vanity, as you can see. And also the cool thing is that the lights were separate as well, so it wouldn't be as bright. Great king size bed, and then we do have a couch that also does pull out to another bed, but we didn't need that. It was just him and myself. And then to the right you see is actually where the bathroom is. All right, nice space, really great space, more than sufficient amount of room. It does come with 2 bottles of water, which was $4, which was rather interesting. But then let's go ahead and take a look outside. So the difference with MSC and this cruise line is that this did have like an opening swing door, where MSC was a sliding door. Here's a balcony, really great space. Again, nothing too crazy, meaning not too small, not too big. And I just love that we didn't have anything above us besides, yes, an emergency boat, but that it really was not a problem whatsoever. Great view, great spacing. And then we did actually sit outside with coffee, laid our clothes out to dry after doing excursions. But yeah, so this is the room, and it was really, really comfortable. The bed was super comfortable as well. It did only come with 2 pillows, but we didn't ask for additional pillows. They were actually pretty comfortable. Same with the sheets and the comforter, and that's it. Right, so then you got to see the room, but after that, not for nothing, quick and amazing, we had our service attendant. I can't remember his name, but he was absolutely amazing. Always made sure that we had fresh towels, fresh toiletries if need be. Always every morning fresh ice. I loved that. Loved that. And super friendly, super engaging. Any questions, concerns, was very tentative, including at the bars. We went to, I'd say, every single one of the bars that was on the cruise. And the bars, the tenants, still great, very tentative. The entertainers, same thing. In comparison, I'd say to MSC, I feel like the entertainers were a little bit more hands-on. And also, for example, the what is it, like the entertainment coordinator? She was funny. She actually did this really funny thing that when she would make an announcement, she was like, "Okay, bye." I said bye, and excuse me. At first, it was very much of like, okay, I heard you. Like, I heard you. And then by the end of the cruise, she had everybody, including myself, like, oh yeah, you're that person. It's like, I said bye, and it was just hilarious. It was I had such a blast. But she was, I think she was newer into her role, at least for this cruise line. So it's almost like she had to warm up to it. But I'd say by the end of the day, she was pretty cool. It was really cool. So in that regard, regarding the service quality, I'd say it was a 10 out of 10. We still had inquiry questions throughout the cruise. Again, it's the first time being on Carnival. we'd go to the service desk, not long waits. Of course, there was that one particular day where the line is long, where people are usually removing their gratuity. But even still with that, in my opinion, it was fast and efficient. And there was no long wait with that. And that's also to speak for going to their private um, portion of the Bahamas. Obsessed, obsessed. Great quality of service there as well. So 10 out of 10, hands down, chef kisses. Appreciate them. So the third thing that was actually on the Google review regarding for Carnival in general, as well as Carnival Magic, was sanitation. No issues whatsoever. Didn't smell anything. Not for nothing. The interior, the restaurants, all looked clean. They were continuously cleaning. If you left dishes, napkins, anything around, it was picked up. There weren't glasses everywhere. They actually predominantly used their green cups, which I was a really big fan of, but it is what it is. I guess it makes it easier for you to see for the like the buffet area. But everything was consistently cleaned, even as busy as they were. They were continuously going around picking up the food, picking up the trays, asking like, "Can I remove that for you?" But without feeling rushed, which I did especially like that during the dinner dining hours as well. I did not see any sanitation issues. I'm really trying to think as well. Their like not lawn chairs, but like their pool chairs, like the deck chairs, great condition. The paint interior was fine. The carpeting was fine. Um, Everything was great, including we went to the arcade. All of the arcade games worked. That is rare. If you go to an arcade that, for example, could either be like a hole in the wall bar or a small town, or even a regular, go to Dave and Buster's. There's at least one or two games that says like a strip on it out of service. No, every single game worked. I actually had a lot of fun playing this one deer hunting game. Hilarious. But everything was actually clean and great standard. So again, same thing. I got to give it a 10 out of 10. So the next thing that people were complaining about was food. I got to tell you, the food on a scale of 10, 18. I'll tell you why. The food was always fresh. The food, not only that, okay, so now let's compare it to MSC, right? Because MSC is a European cruise line. Food was good with MSC. So what I liked about MSC is that every port that you went to, they actually played on that port. Prime example, we went to Mexico. So then the night that we went to Mexico, they had Mexican cuisine. We went to Honduras. That night they had Honduran cuisine. Really cool, really thought processed well, right? With Carnival, at least Carnival Magic, there were so many food options. It was hard to keep up. So not only for now for the restaurant, yeah, obviously they had their usual Caesar salad, steak, seafood option of a fish, and then they had like specialties throughout the nights. But the cool thing is that you could get up to two dinners. The third one eventually, it'd be a $25 surcharge, and two up to two appetizers additional would be a surcharge. So much food, so much food. You didn't also feel like it was too much food that was a waste, but not that it was too little that you were still peckish. And I feel like with MSC, we would do that. We would eat dinner and like, I kind of want to go check out what they have going on, at the buffet, and which was fun because the buffet was always great food as well. But the same thing with Carnival and MSC, whatever was in the main dining, they had in the buffet as well. So I actually prefer the main dining with that because it was fresher, especially their salads. I'm a Caesar salad freak. I love Caesar salad. I actually realized this on the cruise. Had no clue, to the point that I loved, going back to service, I loved that our server, he would actually bring double the Caesar salad for me, and also another lady that was, had dinner with us as well. And I loved that, like attention to detail. And he'd crack jokes about it, like, "You like your salad?" I'm like, "I do." But don't get me wrong, I love a salad, but I love food too. So it was just really great to start, your meal with a great salad. So, um, other than that, they had, in addition to on the Lido deck, the main pool, two restaurants, the Blue Cantina, and then which is Mexican, and then also the Guy's Burgers. Now the difference is that they were only open during particular operating hours, like for example, 12 noon or 11 a.m. until like 2. Guy's Burger would still open at 12 noon and wouldn't close till 6. And on C days, only particular restaurants were open. A prime example, which was the Guys and Anchor Barbecue. Now, the thing with that one, that they had particular restaurants open, like that one, a specialty restaurant open on C days only. You kind of had to find out where it is. And that was the only thing I was like, where is it? We actually happened upon it by accident because we wanted to go into a hot tub, and not for nothing, I don't like, I sure as heck did not get on any hot tubs in Royal Caribbean or MSC, but these ones actually look clean, but they're always busy. So I was like, I kind of want to go early morning when less people, and then also not as crowded. So we actually found there were adults only hot tubs on the sides of the ship, and that's where the specialty restaurant on sea days was open. Hidden gem. We don't eat pork, but I'm letting you know right now, I had pork. Okay, the pulled pork was chef kisses. The brisket, the oh my god, the cornbread, the candied yams, rockin'. I'd say an 8 out of 10, only because my boyfriend's family cooks better. Like for example, candy yams, things of that nature. But it was actually still really great, like really great, really great. And it didn't upset my stomach, especially since I don't eat pork. But going back to what I was mentioning before, that's another option, right? Then on top of that, when you go into the actual buffet area, they had the Lido Marketplace, which had everything you could think of, just like a marketplace would. They had the Pizza del Capitano, which is a restaurant, but during lunchtime, you could build your own pasta, which is really great. And in addition to, gotta check my notes, they had the Carnival Deli. I love a good deli sub. The Mongolian Wok. Oh my God. So good. And then the Seafood Shack, which is actually in the aft of the cruise line with the pizza place. So many food options. Now, granted, some had limited time frames, for example, from 11 to 2:30, but obviously the Guy's Burgers was open later. Then you had your dinner time. Then it had the late buffet. Food was always accessible and always like available. I don't think you understand that. There was so much food. It was amazing. And on top of that, after drinking, right, you're on vacation, hello. Start drinking at 11 o'clock in the morning, and then until the late wee hours of night, you're going to want a snack. And there was always something available. Oh, let's not even forget to mention they had the specialty coffee. Oh, the specialty coffee with like cappuccinos, lattes, cold brews, regular drip. Then they had these big, old, gooey, delicious, this thick cookies. Oh, mouth watering, to the point that you'd put in the fridge when you go back to your suite, pull it out of the fridge, and it's still soft. Like, are you kidding me? I gotta tell you, like I said, the food out of a 10, 18. The food, still thinking about it. So good. And also, like, not for nothing, let's go to pricing then, right? So obviously there was the coffee spot with the cookies you pay for. Honestly, it was regular pricing. The coffee was like $4. The cookies were like $2. Two for like $3.50. Not expensive whatsoever. So do keep that in mind. Everything else, including the one off the Guy's barbecue one, that still was included. It's just only during C days, which we had 3 C days. So the only other restaurant that you would actually pay for was the Capitano's for night. Not for nothing, it was right below where the basketball courts were. Not paying an extra $25 to be listening to people playing basketball. So we went during lunch, which was complimentary, and the pasta was really good. Fresh seafood, which it better be. You're on the ocean, but fresh seafood, great food. I cannot speak enough about this. I should do a separate video on the food alone. The food was amazing, absolutely amazing, hands down. So since I think I spoke enough about the food. Oh, okay. The only thing besides the cookies that saved them, the desserts were probably out of 10, like a 4. The same things, like a gelato, ice cream, and then. But then again, I'm not a desserts person. Give me salts, carbs all day. You got me. But if I am gonna eat dessert, it needs to speak to me. And there really wasn't many options. It was just the basic like American desserts, which was like ice cream, cakes. There wasn't even tiramisu. Um, yeah, I'd say, did I give it a 3? Yeah, like a 3 out of 10 for the desserts. But food, 18 out of 10, hands down, 18 out of 10. So I think people complained about that. But anyways, all right, so on to the next. So the next thing that people complained about was regarding rowdy party environment. And I kind of spoke about this along the first issue. The people complained about was wait, did I? yeah, with onboard behavior. So didn't experience it. Not for nothing. Not a single rowdy party ended up happening. Now, granted, we didn't go to any of the clubs, but we did stay out late, walking around the cruise line, going to different like the the late night shows, the late night comedy shows. So meaning we were walking about, and we didn't experience or see any arguing, any fighting, any bickering, nothing of that nature whatsoever. We didn't even see much security like that where it was like super obvious. I'd say the only funny thing is we did see security looking at the phone, watching a lady gambling. And at first I was like, oh, babe, something actually might actually pop off on Carnival. Nothing happened. It was the wrong person. But it was still just really funny, like waiting because like you hear so many things, like nothing. Not a single rowdy experience. Not for nothing. If anything, I got a lot of positive energy. Like, like cute girls walking by, like, oh girl, I love your bathing suit. I'm like, I love your bathing suit too. I'm like, oh my God, you're so pretty. You're pretty too. Like it was I had a blast. It was a great experience. Not a single fight, argument, nothing popped off. And again, granted, um, we didn't go to any clubs, but we were still out and about. So we would have seen anything that did pop off. And even at dinner time, no one spoke of anything like that. So that also debunked. Didn't experience that. So let's get into the financials. Money. Okay. So we booked a 6-day cruise. We went to 4 stops. Miami counts because we did fly there. So Miami, Turks and Caicos, amazing. DR, amazing. Bahamas, and then back to Miami. So it was, okay, technically three ports, but for 6 days. So with that being said, it was a $1,500 total. Not bad whatsoever. And we got a balcony suite. Loved it. Very spacious. You guys did see it part of the video of that. And tip was in addition to, this is my first time booking Carnival. I didn't realize until afterwards watching additional videos that we could have chosen to pre-tip, but they did add an additional 200 each. We decided to have it removed because after our experience with MSC and watching old videos and actually knowing a few people that have worked on cruise lines, they don't see that money. So we decided to do, we came on the cruise with the very particular cash amounts, which was actually nearly double of what their tip breakdown was for each person, which was our tenants, our room attendant, and then our server. And then while we were buying drinks at the bar, we were also tipping. So to give you an example of what the breakdown was, partial, because I didn't say all of it, was at and again, this is for when they add it to your bill. They kind of like show some of the breakdown. The main things I was looking for was the cabin attendant and the food and beverage. They were only giving the cabin attendants $40 and the food and beverage, like meaning the dining restaurant, $30. Absolutely not for 6 days. So when I especially saw this, my boyfriend and I were like, no, that's nowhere near enough. Even for 2 people, that means we paid we gave them double of that in an envelope, cash, with a cute note saying thank you for everything. And they were really super appreciative, actually shocked. So we did have it removed, like I mentioned before, about the service quality. When we waited in that line, it did not take long whatsoever. Took it off and done deal. So another thing that I wanted to notate was regardless if you're actually putting on the sign in sale card, a debit card, or a credit card, it is still being calculated and deducted as you're going off of either a debit card or charging your credit card. Now, the most important thing of which I had learned while being on there, let your credit cards know that you're leaving and also island hopping. So I put my Amex on there. Cool, love that. I love Amex because they're going to fight for their money. But then, because I didn't tell them that I was island hopping, they actually stopped the transactions and then declined it. And I'm like, what? Hold it. Back up. So obviously realizing that, I just had to push them through manually. The cool thing is I have T-Mobile. So anytime that I did land in port, I had service to go ahead and message them, hey, it's me. So that was, again, lesson learned. It's my 3rd cruise, and lesson learned, I'll at least let my major credit cards know that I'm going to be island hop. That's what I call it, island hopping. That's what it is to me, okay? It's like being in an all-inclusive island hopping. I love cruises. So that's just food for thought for anyone who, if it's their first time on Carnival, second time on Carnival, just give that idea to let them know, let whomever know, whether it's your bank, Wells Fargo, Chase, or credit card, Discover, Amex, you're going to be island hopping or out of the country. Now, the prices for beverages bar, they're pretty much, we reside in New Jersey and we go into New York quite often. They reminded me of New York, Jersey prices, so it wasn't that big of a deal. Like for example, getting an espresso martini was like $11. He had gotten like an old fashioned I think it was like 15. I think there was one drink I'd gotten. I forgot what it was called. It was something rather, I think it was like French Kiss or something. I think the most expensive drink we had gotten was like maybe a $20 drink, but it was so good that I was like, oh, I need another one. But it was so good. I think it was French Kiss, something like that. But again, we had other ways of having our alcohol. So we decided to kind of like cap it off at a certain amount, and it wasn't that big a deal. But we opted to not get the drink package because we're not big drinkers like that, meaning after doing the math, we individually would need to have consumed $70 worth of alcohol a day in order to get our money's worth. I'm a lightweight. After one glass of wine, I'm like, hi. But with that being said, so we just made it make sense for us, and we had other ways of having our alcohol on board. I'll leave it at that. So, for those that are inquiring, do the math yourself. Literally, just break it down. How much a drink package is. Break it down to the average cost of a beverage from where you're from, or just an average in general, like $10 to $15, and then divide it by the how many days that you'll be on the cruise, and then make it make sense for you. If it makes sense for you, I love that. It just didn't make sense for us, and then we had other resourceful alternatives to ensure that we had a great time being inebriated. So, on to the next. So then, not for nothing, but I did want to go over as well regarding excursions. So we've decided whenever we go somewhere, we'll leave one port, which is going to be the main island that the cruise line actually owns, to not do an excursion. It was the best decision ever. So I'll start with the first one, Turks and Caicos. We did do snorkeling at one of the deepest coral like drop offs in the entire world. It was like 700,000 feet. So much fun. I got stung by a jellyfish. Don't get me started. But had the most amazing dance party on the catamaran on the beach in Turks and Caicos. Had a blast. Well worth the money. Turks and Caicos is relatively expensive, so that total is about $300 for the both of us. Well worth it though, and it came with alcohol, rum punch. Then from there we went to DR. We did the I think it was Mamaguas, Damaguas, yeah, Damaguas, which was their waterfalls and kind of like not rock climbing, but like climbing throughout the jungle. Hands down amazing. Oh, and zip lining, hands down absolutely amazing. I will definitely plug in video as well as pictures. Had a blast.
Baila conmigo, que yo al paso te sigo. Hey. Seamos más que amigos, amigos, amigos. Solo tú me sigues al ritmo de la pista y yo me veo como chica de revista. Baby, conmigo a ti se te va la vista. Puedo quemarte solo con una pizca. Arriba y abajo, uy, ay. Prendimos, apagamos. Arriba y abajo, ay. Prendimos, apagamos nunca.
Had a blast. Well worth it. That average, I think the same. I think that came up to like maybe 300 for the both of us. Absolutely awesome. And then for the actual private island in the Bahamas, we didn't do an excursion when we got there because the island is huge. Their private island is much way better developed than the MSC one. A lot of great opportunities to do whatever you'd like, whether it's from their pools, the ocean, which is beautiful. Their beaches are amazing in the Bahamas. But we then rented a paddle boat, right? I believe it was a paddle boat. When you're sitting and rowing. I forgot the name. But we did that, and then we also got to come back and ask them to get snorkel gear because we're water people and we go far out. Like we're very venturesome. We're very athletic when it comes to those kind of things. So we went super deep out. He saw stingray. I saw fish. We're both like, we want to get in the water because this is when we were paddle boating. So we went right back, dragged that paddle boat back up to the beach. Like, hey, we only took about 15 minutes. We would love to use that difference of the remaining 15 minutes or 30 minutes to go snorkeling. We did just that. And the whole thing, which is paddleboard and snorkeling, $40 together. That's crazy. That's absolutely amazing. So keep that in mind. It's sometimes better to kind of like wing it. And we've decided anytime that we do actually do like a private island of a cruise line, let's just wing it and figure it out from there. After that, it's just kind of rained. We got some food. It stopped raining. Island life. Then we went to their swim-up bar. Yeah. Anytime now we go anywhere that's either a resort or has a pool, it has to be a swim-up bar for me. it has to be a sport bar. Absolutely amazing. Not only was it okay for you to get tipsy and have a great time in the water, it was shallow, so clock that. But the drinks were great and it was such a vibe. I love the Bahamas. That's all I'm going to say. As an island girl myself, I love the Bahamas. So on from there, I kind of wanted to give that pricing regarding the excursions. Had an absolute blast. And now for debarkation. Wah, wah, wah. So sad. I didn't know. I didn't want to leave. I actually tried pushing, almost like you do a delayed checkout for a hotel. Oh, I tried that with this. Like, sure, you get to park at like, 10 o'clock. Man, they were like, over here, you need to check out now, bring your luggage. To the point we had to sneak past where they had cut it off because they're trying to do like kind of like a rally together, um, um, almost like a streamline. We had to sneak underneath the rope, grab our luggage, and then although we had a delayed debarkation, they didn't want to hear that noise. Like this way, everyone going this way. I think could have been definitely more organized. That I do agree with what people were complaining regarding debarkation being unorganized. It was definitely unorganized. It was actually overall frustrating because you're flooding three different long lines of people into one door. And it's like we all are sad to be leaving. So there's a little bit of attitude, a little bit of elbow rubbing, and it's just like, now get me off this boat, right? Or get me back in my room. That's the only thing I'd say. That's surprisingly the only negative thing I have to say. Um, that's a lie. Dun dun dun. I'd say the only other thing that they could do better, and this is great food for thought if they are. This could somehow get to one of them, somebody, is they could have done better with the organization when it comes to needing to pivot during their entertainment. So a prime example is it actually started raining on one of the nights that we were supposed to actually have the white party, and MSC, as they already were aware of the weather, I'd say about 15, 20 minutes prior to actually an event that's supposed to be starting, MSC would already have the backup. And they have the backup not only announced through the app, but also through the PA system. With Carnival, non existent, they actually didn't even have a backup plan. So we had to figure something else out. Granted, there's other things happening, but especially for an all white party, that's kind of one of the themes that everyone's looking forward to for it to have gone to waste. I loved my outfit. It was very sexy, hot tamale. Only dinner saw it. That was about it. And then honestly, we went back to the room, drank, and passed out. The other thing I'd say is regarding being more clear regarding their theme nights. They had like a neon night or like a 80s vibe, had no clue when it was happening. And the worst part is we came prepared, kind of packed with something, and then we had no clue. At least with MSC on the app, it said the theme nights for that exact night, as well as they had it printed out. Very clear, concise. It was very confusing and the communication could have been a lot better and a lot more enjoyable with that. So I guess that does kind of segue into regarding the service quality where people are complaining about, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's a lack of quality. I feel like it's just food for thought for them to be able to manage more effectively, for people to be able to enjoy themselves and also not for nothing enjoy the themes because some of them are really cute. They're really, really cute. Other than that, the vacation was absolutely amazing. We're already planning our next cruise. We'll probably be doing the specialty one of the Royal Caribbean Jamrock because he didn't go with. I didn't know him back then when I went, and not for nothing, that cruise is wild, wild. So we're definitely gonna be looking into that. But I hope you guys did enjoy it. I hope this gave some really great food for thought, as well as kind of clearing the air when it came to Carnival, but especially Carnival Magic because that's all I could speak to because that's the cruise line that I did go on. But also the reality is, really my thought process, when we did decide to go with Carnival is not for nothing one of the oldest and more tenured cruise lines. So with that comes not for nothing a potential stigma, especially if it's negative. And people are more inclined to be negative. So it's carrying on with them, regardless of the efforts and movements they're making to make things better. So the reality is, hi Mina, my dog wanted to say hi. So the reality is I am just genuinely a positive person. So if I get the opportunity to speak light and positivity into something that is valid with integrity, why not? So I hope this really helps people to really rethink when it comes to, going on a Carnival cruise, particularly Magic, because again, that's all I can speak on. But we definitely will be doing Carnival Magic again, and also checking out another Carnival cruise line, like another ship. Now, Carnival Magic, I believe, is one of their newer ones, but it was really great. So I hope this was insightful. I hope this gave you guys a lot of information and check them out because it wasn't that expensive. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you next time. Bye.